You can take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to tell you that you are not on the list of eligible young men. However, I do have the same list as the Duchess of Bolton. However, I am quite ready to enter your name should your answers match the qualifications of an affectionate mother. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit, I smoke.
I'm glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle young men in London as is. How old are you?
29.
A very good age to be married at. I have the opinion that a man who is about to be married should either know everything or nothing. What is it for you, Mr. Worthing? Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I am pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it, and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, in England, at any rate, education proves no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would prove a serious danger to the upper classes, which would probably lead to acts of violence in Governor Swear. What is your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
In land or investments?
In investments, chiefly.
That is satisfactory. What between one's duties expected of one's during one's lifetime and the duties expected from one after another's death, land has ceased to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. That's all that can be said about land.
I have a country house with some land, of course, attached to it. About 1,500 acres, I believe, but I don't depend on that for my real income. In fact, I'm sure the poachers are the only people to actually make anything out of it.
A country house? How many bedrooms? Well, that question can be... That point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple or unspoiled nature such as Gwendolyn could hardly be expected to reside in the country.
Well, I own a house in Belgrave Square, which is let to the Lady Bloxham by the year. Of course, I can get it back whenever I want, at 6 months' notice.
Lady Bloxham? I don't know her.
Oh, she goes about very little. She is a lady significantly advanced in years.
Ah, nowadays that is no guarantee of respectability or character. What number is Belgrave Square?
149.
The unfashionable side. I knew there was something. However, that could be easily altered.
The fashion or the side?
Both, if necessary, I presume. What are your politics?
Well, I'm afraid I don't really have one. I'm a liberal unionist.
Oh, they count as Tories. They dine with us. They come in the evening, anyways. Now on to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I've lost both of my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, might be regarded as a misfortune and might warrant some sympathy. But to lose both just looks like carelessness. Who was your father? He was evidently a man of some wealth. Was he born in what the radical papers call the purple of commerce? Or did he rise from the ranks of the aristocracy?
I'm afraid I really don't know, Lady Bracknell. When I said I lost my parents, it would be closer to the truth to say my parents lost me. I don't know who I was by birth. I was, well, found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, an older gentleman of a very kind and charitable disposition, found me and named me Worthing because he happened to have a ticket for Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is a place in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
Where did the charitable gentleman who had a first-class ticket to the seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Lady Bracknell, it was very slightly large black leather handbag with handles on it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In what locality did Mr. James or Thomas or Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
Is it wrong?
The cloakroom of Victoria Station. It was given to him in a mistake of his own. The cloakroom? The cloakroom at Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
This line is immaterial, Mr. Worthing. I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, at any rate bred, in a handbag, whether it handles or not, seems to me a display of contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to. As a particular locality in which a handbag was found, a cloakroom at a railway station might serve to conceal a social indiscretion. It's probably indeed been used for that purpose before now, but it can be hardly regarded as a sure basis for a recognized position in good society.
Then what would you advise me to do? I need hardly say I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to acquire some relations as soon as possible and produce a definitive parent of either sex before the season is over.
I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that. I could produce the handbag at any given moment. It is in my dressing room, my house. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What does this have to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter, one brought up with the uttermost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel? Good morning, Mr. Worthing.